Hey girls, welcome back to Hey Sis, is that Peri? I'm your host, your favorite friend, and your BFF, Christy, and together we're going to continue to go on this ride of perimenopause. So today we're going to talk about periods. Is your period doing a disappearing act? Is it here one day, gone the next? Are your cycles indifferent? Are they up and down like roller coasters? Do you have consistency for a few months and then for a few months you don't have a cycle? These are all things of perimenopause. So today we're going to jump right into it. Fortunately for me right now, I don't know if it's fortunate or not because my period seems to come with a vengeance, but I am having regular cycles and ovulation as well. So that being said, just because my cycles are regular, don't mean yours are or the girl next to you that I hope you invited to the couch today. So that being said, we're going to jump right into it. We're not going to waste too much time today. We jumping right into periods, okay? So before I even jump into that, we have to do our peri check-in. So I'm going to ask you, like I do on every episode, how was Peri treating you this week? I'll go first, per usual. So this week, Peri has had me a little bit indifferent. I feel like I've been a little standoffish, just a little bit off, overly thinking in my mind, and not necessarily emotional, just overthinking. If you know what I mean, drop it in the comments. Sometimes my brain just decides to think about one thing and it goes on and on and on and on and on. So this week, Peri had me not really want to talk to anybody, not really want to have conversations, and really kind of just saying to myself, has Peri made you feel like isolated, wanted to stand alone and not be a part of the crowd? If that's you, sis, drop it in the comments. And remember, this is a safe space for all of us. So we're here to affirm one another, whether you're in the postmenopausal stage, perimenopause, or menopause itself. Together, we're going to go through this together. Okay. So let's talk about some symptoms. I do have some notes per usual. I always got to do my research and got to do my notes and look up some stuff on our old friend Google or WebMD or whatever site that you decide to kind of look up symptoms. And even really just talking to some of my close girlfriends that are just in the middle of all these stages. Some are in peri, some are in post. It just depends. So I've kind of been doing that as well. So early perimenopause symptoms can look like regular and on time periods. Just because you're having regular periods does not take you out of the club of going through perimenopause. I hate to say that it's a club, but sis, it really is. It really is. It's a club. We're all together suffering, unfortunately, in silence. And I'm hoping that through this channel, we no longer have to suffer in silence and we can do this all together. So, regular on time periods can be a sign. Confirmed ovulation, fertility still present. You can still go through that in perimenopause. Here's one thing that nobody really talks about: your fluctuating libido. Is your sex drive gone? Are you in the stage where you're like, don't touch me? Hey babe, I love you. Telling your spouse, I love you, but don't touch me. I don't want to be touched today. There's a whole thing with the libido being gone. On the swing side of that, there's also a group of women who, once they hit their 40s, their sex drive kind of just kicks it into high gear. You kind of feel like an Energizer bunny. So, depending upon where you are in that swing of things in just your life, you could be in between either one. Mood shifts, sleep changes, and night sweats. Again, same thing that we've been talking about in the previous episodes. I want to continue to talk about these things and bring awareness. Because again, you could have a regular cycle, you could have a high sex drive, you could still be going through perimenopause. Okay. I don't want that to be you to feel dismissed. And that's the next thing that we're going to talk about: medical dismissal. You're still bleeding, so it can't be menopause or it can't be perimenopause. So, yes, if you are still having a cycle, it would not be typically menopause, but you could still be in perimenopause and your cycles could be very irregular. You could have a every 28 days. Or for me, my cycle is every like 24, 25 days. So there are some longer months, like third months with like 31 days, December, things of that nature, where I could start my period early in the month and then come right back on at the end of December because of how my actual cycle works. So it could be every 24 days, it could be every 28 days. You could be one of those ones that are already kind of struggling And so maybe you have PCOS or something like that. And so your cycle is already a little bit all over the place in and of itself. So tracking your symptoms, like we talked about before, is going to be pivotal in this journey so that when you do go to the doctor, you're able to tell them exactly what it is that's bothering you. And you've already been tracking your symptoms. So they can't kind of medical gaslight you and kind of tell you that what you're going through can't be what you actually think it is because you're too young or you're still having a period. Don't let any physician tell you that your symptoms are not real and what you're going through is not real. I've been through that myself. Not that this is related to perimenopause, but my son is 7, and when I was pregnant with him, I was having all these signs of just like itching. My skin was itching, and they've like all these different things like pups and all these different things. And I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like, I feel like it's under my skin. So I was doing some research and finding out something called cholestasis of pregnancy. Had never heard about it before. And there are some negative implications in regards to the child if it goes unmonitored and unwatched. So talking to my doctor, and I'm like, I really think that I have this. I'm watching people who have talked about their journeys, like on YouTube or whatever the case, blogs, and they're saying all the symptoms that they have, and people are not listening to, and they're like, no, you don't have any symptoms, you don't have any signs. I'm like, do the blood work, doc. Do the blood work. Did the blood work because I had planned to have like a natural delivery. The doctor did the blood work, y'all. And let me tell you, he was very humbled. Granted, I loved the OBGYN I was with at the time. So I had no issues with him, but I just knew that my body felt off. And so he came in, he sat on his little rolly chair. He rolled up next to me, put his hand on my hand, and he was like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, what? Like, tell me. And so he's like, I really thought that this was going to be a different answer. He's like, but you are 100% correct. I had tested positive for having cholestasis of pregnancy. And without it being monitored and watched through stress tests and things like that, there's a high possibility of stillbirth. So for me, having to constantly go to the hospital twice a week and being on the non-stress test and things of that nature, I'm thankful that the doctor actually listened to me with some pushing and prodding. So I say all that to say to make sure that when you go to your provider, you go to someone that's actually listening to you. They're not just textbook diagnosing you. They're actually listening to what you're going through. They're listening to your familiar history. They're actually taking down really good notes in regards to what you're going through because you're not crazy. You're going through these symptoms and these things for a reason, and hopefully we can find some different things, some research. For me, I know there's different vitamins and things out there, but I need something that's not going to take away my appetite. I'm tiny enough as it is. I don't need nothing that's going to make me not want to eat because I'm an emotional non-eater. Like, piss me off on a good day and I don't have an appetite anymore. Or if I'm sad, I don't have an appetite. Where some people are like, oh, I'm sad, I'm angry, bring me a whole pint of ice cream. Like, I'm just like, nope, push the plate away and I don't want to eat. So again, you go to the doctor, make them hear you. And if that doctor's not hearing you, then go to another one because somebody will listen. Frustration. That's what I was talking about. You're too young or that's not it. Don't let them gaslight you. Make sure that you are making them listen to you and you feel like you're being heard because that's what's most important. So perimenopause can last for 4 to 8 years. It doesn't have to be just before you hit menopause. It could be 4 to 8 years, especially for minorities, for Black and Hispanic women. So we have whatever it is that's in our chemical makeup. I don't really know. I haven't really found it in research as to why outside of systemic racism. I don't know what it is about us that makes us go through it sooner and have more intensity and things of that nature. But that's one of the things. Your ovulation will gradually fade. Having normal labs does not mean that your body isn't shifting, that there isn't changes hormonally that are going on just because your labs are normal. My recommendation is something that I'm waiting for is to get some blood work done so that you have a baseline and midline and whatever you have later on. So keeping track of your numbers and things like that so that you can have a better tracking of it. Gaslighting or somebody telling you that you're not going through that is a real topic, and stress is real. And for somebody to be like, oh, you're just stressed, or you just need sleep, or you need this and that. Like, I mean, sleep, yes, making sure you're getting a good sleep, it just helps your body overall, making sure your body's rested. It does help reduce stress, but it's not going to help the hot flashes go away. You know, it's not going to help your estrogen and your progesterone be where they're supposed to be. Like those are things that naturally dips as you get older in your life. And so it's important to make sure that you're going to somebody that you can talk openly with and you feel heard, and they just really are taking inventory of what's going on with you. We deserve care that listens to us and not dismisses what we're going through. And if you feel that way, I'm hoping that you found somebody within this journey, within the last few episodes, and maybe even in the comments, that someone that can understand and even validate how you feel, even if you haven't found that provider yet. So just be mindful that you're not alone. There's people out here going through what you're going through, and we're gonna go through this together. Like I may sit on here and have a whole on hot flash. Who knows? I may have, after flash chills. I don't know. They have. I read something about like a stiff shoulder, a cold shoulder, something like that, where you're having all this pain in your shoulder. I haven't had that yet, thank God, and knock on wood. But whatever the symptom is, whatever the situation is through this journey, I hope that you are finding someone that you can talk openly with and you can be transparent with, because nobody likes to feel alone, like they're going through this by yourself. So I have some questions for you. Remember to drop them in the comments and kind of respond to each other. So, what signs showed up before your cycle changed? I'll tell you, for me, my cycle hasn't really changed like that, but it has changed in the duration. So, prior to 40, my cycle was like every 28 days. And then once I hit 40, it went down to like 24, 25 days. And she comes in with a vengeance. Aunt Flo comes in like a power punch. My cycle is actually so heavy that I have iron infusions almost twice a year. I take medication, so the cycle isn't as heavy. And those are the things, because without it, I would be exhausted, on top of like to have a period and to be dealing with perimenopause at the same time. I feel like I'm being chin checked twice, like once to the right, once to the left. Like it doesn't matter. Like I'm being hit on both sides. Like your hormones are doing all of this. You're having your cycle, and you're in the fetal position because your stomach hurts or you're nauseous, and then at the same time you're having hot flashes. So it's not a fun journey to be on. So that was my question to you. What signs or symptoms, what did you notice that changed in your cycle, before? What did you notice that changed in you before your cycle actually changed? Um, so for me, it was just the fact that my cycle changed. I didn't really have anything before that. All right. And so how do you respond to, you're still regular? Like, you're fine. You're still regular. How do you respond to something like that? For me, I am getting to a space where I feel more comfortable advocating for myself and speaking up for myself. Or in the past, I would just be like, okay, it's fine. I'm regular, so I'm just tripping. No, I'm not tripping, and I am still regular, but I am still having these symptoms, and so we need to address them. We need to figure out something I can do to not have them as bad. Because with me, what they recommended was hormonal birth control, which, I mean, I guess it's fine if that's what you prefer, but I personally have not been on birth control in years, 10, 15 years plus years. Like I have not. Hormonal birth controls do not react well to my body, and to each their own. Like if they work for you, great, by all means. But I didn't want anything like that. And then they suggested the IUD. Then one doctor said I wasn't a good candidate for it. The other one said that I probably was, regardless. Yeah, that was that. They said something about like a ablation, and then the other thing was just like a hysterectomy. And I'm like, yeah, if I go through a hysterectomy, you're gonna throw me into like full blown menopause, and I'm barely dealing with the perimenopause. So, no thanks, doc. So right now I'm looking through and looking for natural alternatives to kind of deal with the symptoms, and still taking the medication for the cycle so that it's not as heavy as it is. But without it, yeah, I'm gonna stay in the house. Has Peri amplified your creativity or confidence? I'm gonna say it has. And the only reason I'm gonna say it has for me is because I started this channel. I started this channel so that we could sit down and talk together. We could talk about perimenopause, and not even just the ones who are in it, but talk about it before we get there. So the ones who are not here can be prepared for it before they even step foot into this phase of our lives. So that's kind of why I did it. And to be honest, to be vulnerable and transparent, like, I'm a closed book, but I'm an open book to those I know. I don't know anybody. You know what I'm saying? All of you out here that's going to be watching this video, I don't really know you. I'd love to get to know you. I definitely want to get to know you in the chat. But this is a very vulnerable and transparent thing for me to do. But I'm doing this because I feel like the conversation needs to be had. So the amplifying my creativity and creating this channel so that we all have a safe space to sit on the couch and talk about it. What does rewriting the Peri narrative look like you? For me, um, I would want it to not be as taboo, not so negatively talked about. And of course, once you talk about it, you have your phones and your TVs, like the algorithm starts showing you stuff. But before you're going through symptoms and you don't anything, it's just like, oh, girl, you'll be fine. It's just welcome to the club, or no, but let's talk about it. What does this club entail? Like, what happens in this club? How do we fight these symptoms? How do y'all deal with the disappearing periods or the not knowing? And how do we do it? Not just dismiss the fact that we're having these symptoms, or have all this shame in the fact that we're going through perimenopause or having irregular periods in the first place. Things like this that our body has to go through should not be shameful. It's not shameful to have a baby, and we have to go through that. It's not shameful to get married. It's not shameful to get a new job. It's not shameful to do all these things in life that we do regularly, and it's easily and openly talked about. So why is it not okay, or why is it so taboo to talk about perimenopause and menopause when we don't have a choice in going through it? Whether we find some type of medication, whether it's hormone replacement therapy or we do a natural route, there's still something that our body goes through in that phase. And so because we have to go through that phase, I think it's important that we talk about it and not make it a negative thing to talk about. We shouldn't be shamed and, okay, yeah, I'm going through perimenopause and I don't know, how do you guys feel about it? No, yes, I am 43 and I am going through perimenopause right now. Do I like it? No. Does it need to be talked about? Yes, absolutely 100%. Because if somebody would have prepared me in my 20s, I feel like I would have had a better grasp and done more research than what I would have already known that I know now, because I'm already here. So, yes. What I want you to do is share some stories. If you guys know anybody that is going through it, let them know. Talk in the comments. Talk in the comments. That this is our space. This is our little club. We're like pen pals. Remember, this is our space to go ahead and talk about what we're going through. So let's talk about some relief or things that we can do for heavy cycles. Okay. Hydration. I don't have my water with me. It's actually in the other room. I forgot to bring it in here, but I take my water everywhere I go. Actually, it might be in my car, but I take it everywhere I go. If I'm going to the store, it goes with me. It just stays in the car. It's insulated tumbler. You guys have seen it before. It goes to bed with me. It goes to the couch with me. Everywhere I go on a date, my water is coming with me in the car. It may not go into the restaurant, but it goes everywhere. I try to stay hydrated. Eating iron rich foods, spinach, lentils, red meat, pumpkin seeds. Somebody sent me like a TikTok or something about eating steak on the first day of your period. Man, I'm telling you, this last cycle, I had steak for breakfast, I had steak for lunch, I had steak for dinner. Whatever I needed to do to not feel as horrible as I felt, it didn't really work, but maybe I need to do it more because I'm already low on iron, so that could be why. But whatever I need to do, I'm going to try to do. So they said cook it in a cast iron. I think I wrote that down. Yep, that's on here. Boost your vitamin C. Vitamin C helps you with iron absorption. So having more vitamin C, that's supposed to help you with iron absorption for heavier cycles. I heard molasses helps you if you are anemic. I read, and there was another like real Instagram reel or TikTok where the grandmother was talking about how she got some black molasses for her granddaughter who had heavy cycles and had really low iron. And her, I don't know what duration she took it in, but and how much, but she was doing the molasses and it helped her not feel as tired and her iron actually went up. So again, these are all just things that I've heard or I've talked to other people that they are doing that works for them. Again, not clinical. It's just information. I personally do the water. I personally do the vitamin C. I definitely try to do the iron rich foods. I do spinach, red meat. I don't really do pumpkin seeds. I just, that was one thing I found that I didn't know about. Another thing that will help you, raspberry leaf tea, I keep here. I absolutely keep raspberry leaf tea. I actually try to drink it a couple of days before my cycle because I heard that's supposed to help. So I do the raspberry leaf tea, maca root. We've talked about that before. And then just different medications. So ibuprofen, we all know that, you know, if you're taking Motrin or something like that for cramps. The medication that they gave me for my cycle is tranexamic acid. You do have to get that by a prescription, but the tranexamic acid does slow down the flow of my period. And when I tell you it has been a godsend, it has been a godsend. I absolutely love it. And for those who are still trying to conceive, it does not keep you from trying to conceive. That is what my OBGYN told me. So, although I'm not trying to conceive, that's just out there. Um, Again, we talked about hormonal birth control or IUDs. Not a fan of either one, but to each their own. And then always, if you're having prolonged periods where you're feeling lightheaded, dizzy, nauseous, your periods are super heavy, you're soaking through pads and tampons, go to the doctor. See your doctor or go to emergency. I don't want you to take any of this as advice. This is just information that I'm giving in regards to things that have helped me or some other women that I know as well. So again, those are all signs of like anemia, fatigue, dizziness, pale skin, shortness of breath, and then get your iron levels checked. You know, if you have the my chart or whatever, check your my chart, see where your iron levels are, and then they will let you know. I actually just had my blood work done for iron levels a couple of days ago, so then they will let me know if I have to do another iron infusion. They just sit there for about 4 hours and get the infusion. Then I feel like crap that day and the next day, and then after that I start to feel a little bit better, a little bit more energy. Da 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 da. It's just difficult because as a female you're having a cycle every month, and so it's hard to keep the levels where it's supposed to be when you're every month you're constantly bleeding. So for me, the reserve, like my ferritin levels were low, and so my normal iron levels was pulling from my backup storage, so to speak. So I got a closet full of iron, and my main iron is in the living room because my main iron is low. It's pulling from the closet, and so my closet is getting low, and so we need to fill it back up. So hopefully that makes sense. It sounds weird, but yeah. Um. So yeah, what I want to do again, like I always do every single episode, is challenge you guys. What can we challenge? So remember, we talked about the apps, using the apps. Those are super helpful to track your period as well. We were talking about symptoms. I've been using the same app for ever, forever. Matter of fact, the app I'm using now is the same app that I used to conceive my child. So I was using it well before then. All you do is input your cycle, your start date. If you're taking any medication, you put that on there. It shows you your ovulation. You can use ovulation strips if you want to test the ovulation. Mine was looked when I was having like some really bad pain. I had to go to emergency. So they was able to confirm ovulation at that time. But there's different things in which you can do. So try that. The challenge this week. Challenge or task. I don't know, guys. Like, I feel like you guys have had a lot of tasks or homework the last couple weeks, so I kind of want to give you one, but I kind of don't. But I want you. Here's one. I kind of just want you to take everything in. Have you been honest with yourself? That's a good one. I want you to take it all in. Have you been honest with yourself about where you are in this journey, emotionally, mentally, spiritually? Have you been honest with yourself? And have you been honest with the people around you who love and care for you? If you have not, this is the perfect time to be honest with them. Even if you told them that you're going through menopause, perimenopause, even if you invited them to the couch, even if you're tracking symptoms, even if you finally made your appointment, even if you've done all those things, but have you been honest? Even if you came up with, so I think the other one was like a safe word for when like you're overstimulated and touched out, even if you had all those things. But have you really been transparent with how you're feeling through this journey? Yeah. Have you really been transparent on what's bothering you mentally, emotionally? Like, how do you feel? I'll be honest. Sometimes I feel like trash. I really do. I feel like I am going through this all by myself and that no one understands. And I am challenged with holding it together while also carrying the weight of so many other people because I am the go-to person. So yeah, if you can be honest with yourself, you can then begin to take inventory of what's going on with you and kind of push back and say no and say, I can't today, or I'm at capacity, or whatever it is that you feel. But the more that you're honest with yourself, the better off it will be. So again, I am really enjoying this. I really am. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. I'm enjoying talking to you all. I'm enjoying sharing my experiences. I'm enjoying creating a space where we could just come together and vent frustrations or even feel validated, to be honest. Validation is so huge in the world right now, and to be seen. So again, like I've said in some previous episodes, I see you. I am there with you. You are not alone. We got this. We got this. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you again so much for checking out this channel, engaging in the comments, supporting me, and just being here. Like, I feel seen. I feel heard. I feel like this is a safe space for me as well. You know, I'm not by myself in this, and I thank you for that. I thank you for allowing me to be honest, open, and vulnerable without judgment or ridicule. You know, this is a vulnerable thing, just to put yourself out there amongst strangers or people that don't know you. So I'm not going to always get it right. I may not have all the information. I may get something wrong. I may say something wrong. Charge it to my head, not my heart. Know that I'm doing this for all of us so that we could just come together. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for checking out this channel. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and then slap that bell so you can be notified every single time I post a new video. And I just want to let you know before I go, you're not alone, and Peri does not play by the rules, but we can learn to change some of them. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
September we met, I could tell by your smile you hadn't been with a good girl.